Hi guys. I came back because I wanted to do a video for you guys today that can actually teach you something. It's alchemy. So I'm going to wait till a few more people arrive because I am live. Most of my videos are going to be live because y'all can ask questions and I can answer back right away. Most of them. So if you remember that video by Jay-Z called On to the Next, it's pretty old. We're not super old. It's 8 years old. Still one of my favorite songs. Still a video and a song that inspired me to go further than I wanted to go or thought about going and things like that. Mhm. So we're going to talk about this video and how it relates to the alchemical vessel. And the alchemical vessel is a symbol for the soul. Okay, it's a symbol as the soul, for the soul, as the soul. In alchemy, in alchemy, basically, it's all about transmutation and transformation. Okay, so whenever you see like a cauldron or any type of bowl or vessel or anything like that, it's pertaining to what you already contain inside yourself. Okay, it's pertaining to your inner self. Okay, when you close the vessel, when you're in an enclosed vessel, you're working on your inner self. Okay, so the video, on to the next, you got to go watch it. I think it's on Vimeo. I don't think it's on YouTube anymore because of copyright, but it is on Vimeo. So all you got to do is type it into Google and watch it. But there are so many symbols in that video that tell the story and actually tell the process of the alchemical vessel, okay, and how to become your higher self or how to change into or shape shift into your higher self. Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys what a lot of the symbolism in that video means. Um, if you want, if you can, if you're on a computer, um, you can like put it on, mute and look at the symbolism in the video. Uh, so one of the symbols in that video is this skull. Okay. And they're pouring, there's a black one and then a silver one, which is light, right? And so they're pouring milk on on top of the skull. So if you look up the symbol of milk, it represents eternal life, food of the gods, immortality. So, and the symbol of the skull actually represents, you know, the death. So, through inner work, through only using what you have within to create and perfect your soul from within, you can have immortality through your your consciousness, your soul. Okay, then you'll see some weird flashes of symbolism. You'll see the weirdest thing I saw in there was teeth. I'm like, teeth? So it'll flash real quick where the circle usually is, and it'll be teeth. And so you look up the symbolism teeth. It represents change. It represents change and neither good nor bad, but only change. Okay. And then you'll see a man that resembles a skeleton. His face is painted like a skeleton, and he can't move. There's a wall in front of him. Not changing equals death. It means you're trapped, you can't escape, and stagnation, which is also death, means there is no change. So if you don't change, you will die. You will not become immortal. Will not become one of the gods or goddesses. And if you pay attention to that video, it is in darkness. Okay. The video is in total darkness, and you'll see these little wires going. That represents electricity. It represents the ability when you see a symbol. Okay. When you see a symbol, your brain uses electricity firing in your neurons to transform. Okay, that's why symbols are everywhere. They are able to change you. So when you look at a symbol, your brain automatically sends off an electrical charge to interpret that symbol. And most symbols have multiple meanings. Okay. So when your brain sees that symbol, it's almost like it begins transformation. Okay. And when you figure out what the symbol means, it's even more transformation. And once you start understanding what that symbol means and implementing it into your life and becoming the change that the symbol is recommending, or living as if you have been affected by the knowledge of that symbol and changing your consciousness, it represents internal change. Okay. So symbols are the language of the gods or higher self. Okay. So that's why you see a lot of symbolism in that video. So the video starts off with like, it's dark. Then these two lights come on. Okay. One on the right, one on the left. We already know alchemy deals a lot with left brain and right brain, conscious and subconscious, male and female. Okay. It starts off with the lights coming on and then the wave, the electricity. Then it shows a symbol of three, reminding us that there are three aspects of man, you know, mind, body, and soul must be joined. Okay. So another symbol in that video, it flashes to a cross, like of Jesus on the cross, and two bullets coming down in a downward direction. You got to freeze it like right there in order to even see it. It flashes so quick, they don't even want you to see that, obviously. Unless you pause it real quick, you will not see that. But that represents, okay, when the Son of God is sacrificed, that represents the old ideas, the old consciousness, the old way that you used to think has to be sacrificed and die in order for you to become immortal. You cannot stay stuck. Can't stay stuck. Okay. Um, if you don't sacrifice your lower self, that's why the bullets were pointed down. It's the sacrifice of the lower self. If you don't sacrifice your old way of thinking and your fixed way of thinking and open up to eternity and new ideas and change, you will not be eternally spiritually. You will not be eternal spiritually, basically. So in alchemy, especially Christian alchemy, Jesus represents the sacrifice of the lower self, because if Jesus is the Son of God or goddess, that's why the mother, and the father. So if you are Jesus, you are your old self, you are the lower self of God. So if God resides in heaven, that is your higher self. If you reside on earth, then that is your lower self. And that self must be sacrificed in order to rise into the heavens. Okay, so that alchemy process is also known as distillation. Okay, it's when you take water and you apply heat to it and it becomes steam and it rises. Okay, It's the same thing. Applied heat, applied pressure, the sacrifice of the water itself to change states. So in the alchemical process of distillation, that will kind of be like boiling water until it evaporated and became gas. Y'all remember my last video? After the gas, it becomes what? If it's heated even more, plasma, electrical plasma. So you're going to see a lot of electricity in this video. You're going to see a lot of milk symbolism, which represents immortality. You're going to see a lot of skulls, which represents death and stagnation and not changing. When he says, I'm dodging raindrops, meaning I'm on vacay, chilling on the big yacht. In the process of distillation, you must isolate yourself and go within. It's a deep meditative time of your life, most when you become a hermit. And if you guys remember, that's when he so-called retired, so when you dodge raindrops, it represents dodging the external elements, everything around you, all the influence around you, what people are telling you, what they're trying to sell to you, what they're trying to influence you with. You have isolated yourself within a vessel to where it's just you and the elements within. Okay. So we have water in our bodies. We're hot. We're electrical beings. We have heat. When you stay in a car for so long, you start breathing, windows gonna fog up. Breath is turning into vapor. You know what I'm saying? So basically, you get alone and you transform into something else. You're changing. And by doing this, you're creating ways to do things without external influence, without people manipulating you, without anyone telling you what's right, what's wrong. You determine all those things for yourself. And everything that you need to become a god or goddess is already within you. You don't need to seek it outside. Now, you can learn from things on the outside, but the true essence is within. Okay. So once you have spent enough time with yourself, once you have, um, figured things out without anybody influencing you, your ideas begin to flow from because you have to connect. If there's nothing around you, you're going to electrically connect. This is the truth. You will electrically connect to your higher self. And when I say electrically connect, it means your brain has nothing to process from other people, okay, or other influences. So it's going to start processing to itself. It's almost like an internal inquiry. So, yes, you're going to start connecting with your subconscious mind, your higher mind, multiple dimensional selves, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Because there's nothing else to connect with. Okay, that's why you see the hermit a lot in alchemy and spiritualism, because they have to do that. And once you transform into this, what they call, once the steam is created, which is your soul, not created, but once the steam rises, that's symbolic for your soul rising into the ethers or rising up or becoming higher in vibration, changing forms, shape shifting. Okay. Now you have a new ability. You have a new ability. You can do what most people can't. So once you rise up and become this steam or mist or gas, that's your spirit form, but you're still within the vessel. You've just risen higher. Okay. And you're ability to see things from different perspectives. Then, if you look at the video, hold on, let me turn it down because I don't want to get copyright. If you look at the video, they keep showing the number 3 in like forms, and then they'll show some basketballs on fire. Okay. The basketballs on fire represent you becoming energy or plasma, electrons, neutrons, electrically charged matter. Okay. Let's keep going. And it's all in darkness. Okay. And if you recognize the symbols of these birds, okay, in the alchemical process of inner work, two birds going in, different directions or mirrored of each other represent internal change. Okay, so that's all through that video. So basically, they took the process of distillation and the alchemical vessel and basically just created a video based on this alchemy, word for word, basically. Blah, 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 blah. That's why he's in this darkness. And then behind him, you'll always see that ring of light around his head. That represents the rings of Saturn, which represents the plasma, because that's what it's made of, or in between the rings. There is plasma there, conscious plasma. And when I say plasma, if you don't know what I mean because you didn't watch my last video, it is what, oh, man, that's a lot to explain. So did y'all watch the last video about plasma? Basically, I'm going to try to explain plasma as quick as I can. Basically, when you die, the gases from your body that are released, if heated hot enough or whatever, turns into plasma. It's the same thing as when you have ice, it melts into water, water precipitates into moisture and clouds. Then out of those clouds, lightning is created. The gas created the lightning. The lightning is plasma. It's electrical mass. Okay, so electrical mass can travel far distances because it became energy. Okay, so that's what we become after we die. Okay, so when I say plasma, it means the most. It is basically our essence, our spirit. Let's just say that. Right? So that's what we turn into after we die. After this is all rotted out and whatever, decayed. So it is the physical version of us that has turned into electricity. Okay, let's just keep it scientific real quick. So the plasma is represented by, yes, dark material, dark matter, because it goes back into the universe. Okay, so it is able to travel long distances throughout the universe. And on Saturn, there are these rings that scientists cannot figure out. Why don't they dissipate? How come they have not, left? Are they new? Are they old? Why is this plasma here? Why is this plasma keeping these rings here? Basically, the plasma has intelligence. And when we leave our bodies, only certain people who are students who study the occult, who study alchemy, who understand that what they are supposed to transform into, they understand that they are conscious even as plasma or energy. So they go and become this ring, okay, around Saturn. They go there by choice, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so y'all don't have to believe any of this. This is just what I'm putting out there. Okay, so that's why he has that ring around his head. Okay, because it represents Saturn and plasma. Okay, here you go. Okay, so y'all see when the lady is dancing on top of all that luggage and stuff? So luggage, baggage represents material things, correct? Of course, Um, we're yes, in the video. The lady that's dancing on top of the baggage or the trunks or the luggage represents material, okay? And she has all these little dots on her face and she's dancing, right? That represents also plasma, material plasma. Like we're we're still able to manifest. We have just shape shifted into this electrical plasma. Okay. So the luggage represents material, because baggage, material, earthly things, earthly possessions. You know how they say you can't take it with you? Well, you can take yourself, basically, through electrical plasma. So you still have the ability to have matter. That's what dark matter is. Some of the dark matter is not individually conscious, and some of it is, you know. So that's that's exactly what we're talking about. Um, hold on one second. So let me finish and then I'll take some questions. Okay, so let's move forward in the video. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so it'll show some milk, bottles of milk, and then it'll flash to the champagne, Jay-Z champagne, and it represents in the process of the alchemical vessel and distillation. When whenever your effervescence releases or your soul releases, it's a slow process. It's not fast. It can't be rushed. So give it time. Okay. Um, the liquid in the milk is represented as mother's liquor, and that's why they flash the alcohol bottle as well as the milk, because mother's milk, aka mother's liquor, that means the product which you have created by being alone, by being within yourself, by letting your soul rise, and all this alchemical process, you have created what is known as your eternal soul. And um, the product that is derived from that essence is an essence, mother's milk, mother's liquor. If you read the alchemical process, it's going to say mother's liquor, basically. So if you are the earth, Mother Earth, if you are you and you isolate yourself, anything that comes out of you that gives you all these answers and ideas, and after you've connected with your higher self, and now you come out with a bunch of ideas and a bunch of new insight and a bunch of new consciousness, that product is the mother's milk. Your ability to sustain yourself eternally within as well as without, outside. Outside money, inside spiritual gold knowledge. Okay. So that's why they flash the milk and the liquor real close to each other, because it's mother's liquor. And milk is also immortality. Okay, so let's keep going. Uh-oh. Hold on, I gotta turn it up real quick because I gotta hear this part because I forgot what this is. Because it pertains to the symbolism in it, so I need to hear it. Uh-oh. I think I fast forwarded it too far. But anyway, well, there's a V symbol behind him, like towards the near the end, and of course that represents, mother's milk, mother, the female, creativity. So when you come out, you have all these new creative ideas because you have connected with creation itself. You are creator being now. So you have all this creator energy inside you. And now, like the womb, the womb, when you come out of the womb, it's like rebirth. And that's why they use a lot of Jesus symbols as rebirth, death of the old, rebirth of the new. That's why, if y'all remember that video, Starboy by The Weekend, he was, rocking the cross and killing off his old image, from the album he made before for 50 Shades of Grey. He killed off that old image and was reborn. That's why he cut his hair. That's why he killed himself in the video, because that was his sacrifice of his older self and his rebirth. And mhm. So in this video, it represents change. And of course, the message is the same in the song. On to the next one. Don't get stuck. Keep it moving. Stop. Do not get stuck in any type of fixed thought, because it's always going to change. That's only what you learn today may not be useful tomorrow. You have to keep learning, because what you learn today could lead you to something that you're supposed to learn tomorrow in order to accomplish something later on in life. And if you get stuck there, you'll never find it, you'll never learn it. And that's why a lot of people that are in consciousness get stuck and they can't get past a certain point, because you're not really seeking knowledge. They say, in this process, sometimes people will get stuck or try to hurry it along, and that's when it backfires. Long ago, when there were alchemists, people, came to learn alchemy to, Kemet, and they were trying to figure out how to speed up the process to make themselves look more grand and get paid, right? But alchemy, see, that's the trick. You can't do it like that, or else you're not going to get the type of results that are truly able to free you. So mentally, spiritually, and physically, you may get paid this money, but your soul, as well as your mental, did not gain one thing. Okay, because the knowledge was for the wrong reason. So instead of learning through the process of alchemy, because the process of alchemy is to mirror what's inside of you mentally and spiritually. If you skip some processes, if you try to hurry up something along, add some chemicals to it to make it manifest faster, whatever, in the alchemical process, then you're not getting what you need. You're not getting the lesson. You're not going through it spiritually or physically. So you're not getting the true benefit, and you cannot escape. You cannot gain immortality, and you can't escape. You're stuck to be recycled back over here. And those who cannot escape, they don't understand why. Those who cannot create do not understand why, because they're not doing the correct process. Okay? So if you're not on a spiritual journey, if you're not practicing alchemy um, for the inner work, the great work, is that's what they call it. If you're not practicing it for self-actualization, to become your higher self, you're practicing all for the wrong reasons, you will never ever reach it. You will never escape or gain immortality, because you don't know how. So that's why in ancient cultures, everything was a process. Everybody had to go through some type of ritual, to through some type of whatever, whatever, and do some type of things, in order to learn physically, mentally, and spiritually within. A lot of stuff that people do in culture seemed weird or silly, but it was for the internal reflection, to compare it and mirror it to understand something within. Um, and through these ancient cultures, the knowledge was passed down through symbolism, okay, and stories with symbolism in it, and pictures and tablets and things like that. But if you didn't have that type of culture and nothing was passed down in such a way, there's no way to truly understand how important those things are. All people look for are the results. So when you can't understand something from a cultural perspective, as far as the process is concerned, to, you know, the knowledge, the power, and whatever physical benefit you get out of a certain process, you try to hurry up, speed it along, and get to what you can get right now, real quick, and whatever. But you never get the truth out of it. Okay, and that's why a lot of souls cannot escape Earth. That's why a lot of souls cannot mm, create at will, but have to take other creations because they didn't do the correct process. And when you don't do the correct process, you end up even more lost than before you started because you don't know where to backtrack to. Okay. Um. Well, let me look. I guess I see some fools in here. Hold on. Uh, can't even. I can't even talk without idiots. Come on now. Who's in here causing a ruckus? Lord. Okay. So, mhm, I need a moderator. Who wants to be a moderator? Someone says I need a moderator. Ooh, who want to be a moderator? You? I need somebody familiar that I see in here often. Hmm. All right. I see someone I see all the time. Make her moderator. Here you go, Emily. Okay. You're a moderator, Emily. Okay. If you see any trolls, just you know what to do. Um, mhm. So yeah, that's the video, straight up, almost word for word. It's like they took this section out of an alchemy book and just put it in visual form to some good music with the exact same message. Okay. So very mm, very cool. So y'all can go watch that video afterwards. And remember, like, just because people are wearing crosses, it doesn't mean they believe in the one and only Jesus. Da, da, da. Doesn't mean that. It means they know the difference and that they are sacrificing their lower selves to become a god or goddess. Okay. It doesn't mean that they worship Jesus, especially if they're into alchemy. It doesn't mean they worship Jesus. It doesn't mean that they believe what the Bible says. Literally, it represents the death of the old and the rebirth of the new, becoming master, God, goddess, whatever. Okay. So don't get it twisted. Yes, you can still wear a cross if you know what it means. You know, knowing something and being something is two different things. Knowing something is only knowing one aspect of it. Okay? Just let's pause and really think about this. Knowing something is only knowing something from your perspective. Okay? Being something, when you become that thing, you're no longer your old self. You don't see from your old perspective. So, knowing who Jesus is, knowing what Jesus did, does not make you a Jesus or a God. Okay. Being a sacrifice, which is sacrificing your lower self and changing and rising, letting your soul rise to the next level because you're not stuck. You don't close your mind off and you don't just think one way. You're open to more interpretation. That is the sacrifice of the lower self. And that is which gives you immortality because the more you learn, the more immortal you become because you're not stuck somewhere. Okay. So the cross is the cube opened up so that's visible in the 2D view. Okay, so if you want to go into the sacred geometry of the cross is the pyramid. So if you open up a pyramid, if you unfold a pyramid, yes, that is the cross in a 2D view. And once you become, once that flat 2D view rises, it becomes a pyramid. And pyramid points up into the heavens. So yes, you're becoming that. Okay. So most people can say, okay, yes, I rock a cross. The cross, the Jesus, in the occult sense, it represents you've killed your lower self, you've sacrificed your old consciousness in order to be reborn as a god. That's why the weekend, his song was Starboy. I'm a star boy. I've risen into the heavens. I'm a star boy. So, and also the symbol, for Freemason and Eastern Star is their stars, you know. Also the symbol of man and the Merkaba. So you keep rising. And that's what all that stuff means. So if you're stuck in some type of belief, some type of false consciousness, you have to leave. You have to get out of it. Otherwise, you'll die. Your soul will never rise. You'll never be able to escape the earth. Okay, you'll never be able to go past a certain point in the universe. Your plasma will be non-conscious. It will just become actual dark matter to be manipulated by other people who understand the power. So you don't want that to happen to you. You'll just be working for other people basically as dark matter until you figure out who you really are, what you are. I don't know. So, mhm. Any questions? I'll take questions now that are pertaining to this subject. Don't ask me about anything that's not pertaining to the subject. I will not look at it. Okay, go ahead. How do you find what you are stuck in? Not saying it right, but okay. If you have a fixed belief, if your belief cannot be changed, you're stuck. If your belief can't be changed with new knowledge that you seek yourself, that you came upon on your own, then that means you're stuck. Okay? If you're not constantly seeking knowledge, you stuck. Okay. The best books for beginners in alchemy is The Complete Idiot's Guide to Alchemy. Best book. Okay, how did your spirit Spirituality affect your relationship. My husband is Christian, having an issue with my transformation. Um, well, when I was really going through my transformation, like deeply and heavily, what I learned is you can't talk to people about it that aren't on that same, mission or path or whatever, because they're just gonna think you're crazy. So find like-minded people. That's why I created my group on Facebook. Because people that are going through this, they can't go right and talk to people who don't understand it. And you gotta talk to somebody sometimes. So that's why I made the group. Okay. You don't you don't have to be the same belief. You have to know who you are, and that's about it. He's not your responsibility. So focus on yourself. If you need somebody to talk to people in, like-minded circles, possibly online. Okay. Um, yeah, don't try to share it with people who aren't in that understanding. Okay. That's what happened. And that's why a lot of people were killed because people thought they were possessed and crazy, back in the old days. So talk amongst like-minded people. Um, I'm going to join the group. Okay, wonderful. He's the only one I semi talk about these things about, but I feel that easing up. Yeah, you don't need to talk to him about it. Please don't talk to people that don't understand it. Okay, it is wasted energy. Um, you keep seeing people in your coming to your job with alchemist tattoos. Then you found me. I didn't choose alchemy. Alchemy found you. Oh, that's awesome. Um, how to block negative thoughts? Kill them. Sacrifice them. Just like in the video, kill off the old you and rebirth the new you. Everything is a choice. Replace them with a positive thought. Kill the negative thought, replace it with a positive thought until you don't have any more negative thoughts. Your brain will automatically go to the positive if you stop the negative thoughts every time you try to have one. Okay. Um, mhm. What was your transformation like? What books did you read? What meditations? Okay, see, there is no list. You get led different ways by different things. This video is part of my transformation. The artists, the musics, the symbols speak to people. That's why there's lots of hidden meaning in occult symbolism in music and in videos, because that's the way most people see things in the world now, through music, through video, through all this kind of stuff. So there were no books in the beginning for me. There was me wondering what things meant. Why is this video so damn cryptic? Symbolism. Okay. Study symbolism first and foremost. You got to learn what things mean symbolically. Then there is no meditation. Your meditation is being alone. Okay. And pondering and thinking and using your own mind instead of listening to everybody else's recommendations for you. Okay. So you got to get alone. Um, and whatever stands out to you, whatever catches your attention, research what it means symbolically. And there your journey begins. You take it from there. Don't you can't be an alchemical vessel if you ask everybody all, their opinions on what you should be doing. That's why, mhm, yes, you can't become an alchemist if you're asking everybody and their mama what you're supposed to be doing. Mhm. So go within. Yes. Be by yourself. Research things that interest you. There is no right or wrong way. There's only change and there's only transformation. Okay. Yes. Spiritual meaning of whatever it is you're looking at. I just typed in, you know, milk symbolism, spiritual meaning spiritual meaning of the symbol milk, whatever, just type it in. People have Google, but they don't use it. I don't understand. You never have to buy a book if you don't want a book. You have the internet. Um, right. You also have to feel it within. When you understand something to be your truth, you vibrate on a higher vibration when you come to the realization of it. Even though it may not be the last thing that you truly believe, it's going to lead you to that next thing. And that's the truth that you're feeling. That's the vibration that you're feeling, that you're on the right path. If you just like when you go through all the Google search, whatever, you see the first one, the second one, no, that's advertisement. No, that's not it. No, that don't sound good. You read one that sounds good, you click on it. It's the same thing. It's the same feeling. You got to trust yourself. Okay. So, what if you dug too deep in knowledge and you're right back to where you started? That is the line called in I don't know if you're familiar with the song. He says, I'm dodging raindrops, meaning I'm on vacay, chilling on a big yacht. That means I am not being influenced by the outside world. I am only being influenced with what interests me, what I need to be focused on, and what I really want to learn. If you dig too deep, it means you were not actually doing the correct process, but what you were doing is trying to get knowledge without being able to understand it or even apply it. Okay. So if you got too much knowledge and you started back at the same place, it means you never learned how to apply that knowledge. Because perhaps if you did not seek so much knowledge that you would never be able to apply, it was worthless. It meant nothing. Okay. So seek that only which you know you can apply. If you keep trying to learn just to learn so you can sound intelligent to the next person, but you can't apply any of that crap, it's useless. Okay. So that's why you have to only absorb what you are able to absorb. And that's it. Ponder on that. Okay. Let it come to you naturally. Don't sit there and look for hours and hours on something because you feel like you're supposed to be doing something. If it doesn't come to you naturally, you're soaking up the excess which you'll never be able to use. Okay. Um, right. So once again, I'm not doing readings. Mm-mm. Um, so only consultations, only spiritual consultations, no more readings. Why? Because y'all ask the questions you should be asking yourselves. And if I do these readings, I am not helping you. You understand? Not really. Anyway, may help you feel better, may help you have a temporary, may help you have a temporary relief, may make you change your entire life based on a reading. So I would rather people come up with their own path. I like cards for other reasons. I like the symbolism in cards. I like the message in the cards. I don't like telling people what to do with their lives with cards because the question you guys ask me are the wrong questions. Y'all ask me questions like, am I on the right path? What should I be doing with my own life? You're asking me questions that you need to ask yourself. Okay. So until y'all can ask me the correct questions, I'm not doing readings. What are the correct questions? The correct questions would be, what message are the cards giving me from the number of times that I asked you to shuffle? What's the message? Is there a message symbolically? That's what you need. Okay, if you're asking me what to do with your life, not a good thing. Okay, not going to instruct you to do anything. Not going to tell you what to do when you have free will in your own brain. Okay, I'm not your mama. What about new beginners who need help? You don't need help listening to yourself. Anybody can do that. Listen to yourself. Get alone. Focus on what it is that you want and figure out what you need to do in order to get there. You know what I'm saying? Um, Study alchemy and symbolism. That's the way that you're going to find and learn, a lot of things. Occult in the occult. Okay. Um, let's see. Mhm. A lot of the reason why most people don't remember or can't astral project sometimes is because they don't understand what they are. Okay. If you don't understand what you even are, it's going to be impossible to astral project. It's just like we have so much DNA in our bodies that we have the DNA of a jellyfish. We have the DNA of so many different animals in our body. If we were able to use more of our brain and understood what we really were, we would be shapeshifters. And there are some shapeshifters already. Okay. Not in this universe, but I mean, not in this particular time or where we are right now, just everywhere, but there are some. If you're just like Beast Boy on Teen Titans, or if y'all saw the movie with Scarlett Johansson, forgot the name of that movie, where she took that drug that made her like Lucy. Yeah. She was able to use all of her mind, and then she started shape shifting because she knew what she was. She knew who she was. She knew all the abilities that she had within. She could shapeshift. Okay. So once you understand what you really are, you're able to tap into that of being that. Start becoming it because you know that's what you already are. So that's why all these superhero movies with all these um, people with superhuman powers, with different shape shifting abilities, that represents the evolution of the human DNA through spiritual ascension, DNA ascension, as well as physical ascension. Okay. So you have to be. You can't just know, you gotta be. So knowing does not equate being. Being is knowing who you are, understanding what you are, understanding your capabilities, and then getting by yourself and trying to figure out how you would use them. Okay. How you would use it is the process of thinking without external influence, unless somebody's already done what you're trying to do. And for each person, the process is different. If 50 people write a book, each of their process for writing a book is going to be different. They don't follow the same exact process. That's why you must be your own creator. Okay. So when humans get this knowledge, they can take it and forget about it and go and do whatever they do normally and forget about it. And their DNA or their spiritual selves will never truly evolve. They'll just go in one ear, out the other. It will remain in your subconscious mind where it always was anyway. But at this time, you are unable to become who you're supposed to be. You got the knowledge, but you're not becoming. Okay. Push your thumb is double jointed. Okay. Why do they market this one law of attraction? It's so incomplete. Because people are seeking knowledge now, and it's just like religion. They give you just enough. They give you just enough to see a little bit of change, to give you a little bit of satisfaction, to give you a little bit of hope. But the rest is up to you. They're not supposed to give you everything. If they gave you everything, you wouldn't even take it seriously, you know? You're supposed to seek the rest. Yeah, thank you for the law of attraction books and the secret and all that good stuff, but you're supposed to keep going further. That shouldn't be your fixed state of consciousness. Okay? So you gotta keep it moving. Mhm. If you look at all the monsters and all the superheroes, they're all mostly shapeshifters. We are taught to fear or worship these type of beings when we are them unknowingly. hmm So that's what you have to really be focused on. Now, this y'all need to go watch this video, y'all. And you know what? There is a website that I want y'all to read. If you read this website, and then go. It's only a couple of things. Hold on. Yeah, it's one page. It's not a bunch of pages, one page. If you read this one page and then go watch the Jay-Z video, you're going to see it word for word. And it's called The Alchemy Website. And look, um, let me see. I'm just going to show it to you guys, and I'll probably put in the description below. But it's called The Alchemy Website, literally. And The Alchemical Vessel as Symbol of the Soul by Adam McLean. I read that and I started thinking, hey, this sounds like that Jay-Z video. So there is no process. If you like something, if it's inspirational to you, if you're drawn to something for some strange reason, like I still listen to that song and it's 8 years old because the hidden message in there, the hidden symbolism in there sparked something in my mind, in my soul, I guess. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure out what that entire video really represents one day. Because up to a certain point, I could only explain a few things about it. But now I see everything about it because I wasn't stuck and I kept moving and I kept that in my mind. And then eventually came upon the alchemical vessel distillation process explained in the exact same way that the video is visually created. The song is On to the Next One. It's in the video title. On to the Next One by Jay-Z. And I'll put the website when this finishes loading in the description bar below that you can also go read the alchemy on this whole subject. Okay. So, yes. And, you know, in the dark energy group, my paid group on Facebook, we did a craft last night, a candle craft. We made sigil candles for understanding spiritual knowledge, being able to understand spiritual knowledge. So this was our results. I need to go look at some of the pictures in the group of the people's outcome, their candles. So if I haven't responded, because I haven't been on yet, so I will be looking very soon today. Um, so whenever you're watching musical videos, listening to lyrics, look for the deeper meaning. Okay. Yeah, the beat is good. That's to get you in. Okay. That's the electricity to draw you in. That's why musical entertainers are inducted into the occult because they can spread the message to you deeper because of the electrical impulse, because of the symbolism that can be turned into metaphor, and said in a different way with multiple meanings, just like how the Bible was written, just like how the Emerald Tablets are written. It is able to hold symbolism, electricity. It's able to hold messages. It's able to be memorized in your subconscious mind. That's why it is so important in the music industry to know alchemy. If you get in there and you want to be big, you got to know alchemy. There's no way around it. You can't be an influencer if you're not able to influence anybody with a message. Okay? Um they do want you to know yourselves, but you must seek. You must seek. You don't want to know yourselves. That's the point. Everything is a paradox. It's every time you look at something, look in the mirror back at yourself. Okay? It's not that they don't want you to know, it's you don't want to know because you didn't look. Okay? You didn't look, so you have to go. Gotta go. You have to go look. So gaining knowledge and believing is very important. It opened up more. We are in the middle. We are on middle realm. Our spirit from can go to upper realm. The challenge is in tune your spirit energy. Yes, that's right. So yes, symbols speak to the unconscious, subconscious mind. They also spark electrical currents in your mind, so that it is embedded into your subconscious mind. Do y'all remember my video on the Ankh, where I was talking about how the plasma or the consciousness is in the Ankh and it's pushed up into your nose with an electrical current? Well, when you see a symbol, and the Ankh is a symbol, your brain automatically sends an electrical shock or an electrical response to that symbol and pushes it into your subconscious mind so that it will stay with you and it will resonate with you and it will come up from time to time so that you can seek your higher godlike self. Okay. And then sacrifice your lower self to become your higher self, not getting stuck, not being stagnant, which is death, but being and becoming immortal. Okay. So that's symbolically what the Ankh can do. Okay. Uh, yes, I know Sagittarius are very spiritual. Sasha's a Sagittarius too, and she can absorb all of this knowledge like she's already known it for years. Layla's like, huh? I don't get it. And she's a little older, but Sasha automatically understands everything I talk about. And I'm not even, she's a child, but she already knows. She'll give me an example right after I tell her something. You mean, is it like this, and that? I'm like, yeah, perfect. Sometimes her answer and her explanation is better than mine. And I'm just like, oh my God, this baby, you know. So, yeah, she's a Sagittarius. Sagittarius are seekers of knowledge naturally, especially spiritual knowledge, if not scientific knowledge, which is, you know, if you're not a spiritual Sagittarius or a scientific Sagittarius, you may seek technology. You may seek something that you know is going to push you to a higher level, no matter what. Okay. Uh huh. So if your husband's very close minded, it's because he was probably programmed to be that way. If he would get around external influence, if he had been given a choice instead of forced whatever he believes, he probably wouldn't have that. A lot of parents damage their children and cut them off from their higher selves by forcing beliefs and fixed beliefs on them. That's why I never forced any type of belief on any of my kids, whether they want to be interested in what I am or not. Okay. So just like Sasha's interested and maybe Layla's not, I don't force it. Because if she ever does become interested, I want her to be free with her own thoughts, not mine. Because, like I said, we all perceive things in a different way, and we're all led to a certain idea in a different way. Okay. Never put that on your children. Even conscious people, don't put this on your children. Just allow them to choose. Allow them to choose. Don't force it on them. Allow them the choice. Okay. I saw some people on Facebook saying, oh, well, I believe in A, B, C, and D, and my kids won't celebrate this holiday. They won't celebrate that. They won't do this. They can't do that. I'm like, dang, your kid's going to grow up worse than, you probably did under religion because you're not allowing them to choose what they want to do, spiritually. Anyway, isn't that their spirit, their soul? It's not yours. Yes, I respect their free will. You can't force your beliefs on another soul. And if that child has a strong will, if they're conscious from maybe a previous lifetime, they're going to reject whatever you trying to force on them anyway. Okay? If they don't have a strong will from their last life, if they didn't carry a lot of knowledge over from their last, existence, they'll probably go ahead and take whatever you're telling them and run with it. But if they know better, they won't ever accept what you told them, ever. They'll just grow up and do the opposite because it's not in them. That's in you. So, well, gang banging is different from spiritual beliefs. Okay. We understand. We understand that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about spiritual beliefs. So I never force it. Be who you want to be. Sure, do you think Nicki Minaj is an occultist? I think she knows a little bit. She probably has someone trying to teach her and stuff like that. Yeah, I believe she does know a little bit, of course. Because you can't really help not to know it because of the videos that people make. The messages in your song had to coincide with the video. So yes. Plus, Lil Wayne was the one that kind of put her on the map, discovered her, and he is an occultist. So she probably learned a little bit of something through him, as well as, I know Drake as well. So yeah, of course. Um, Rihanna, of course. Most people in the music industry that are major are into the occult. Most of them. Okay. So if you ever have a question, the answer is yes. The musical industry is very much occult. You don't want goats in your house. And the thing about Satanism and stuff like that, that's a way, or there's two different types, okay, of what, there's so many ways that you can pretend to be Satanist. It's a system of belief, okay? It's based on a system of belief. You don't have to be a Satanist to understand the occult. That's the whole thing. You don't have to be a Satanist to be into the occult. Um, I don't know where Emily went. Hey, Emily, somebody's causing trouble. I don't know who it is. Just type their name out, whoever causing issues. So you don't have to be any type of Satanist or worship the devil or whatever to be an occultist. Okay. Um, because the occult came before all of that. You understand? All those. But if you break down what Satan or the Satanism really is in occult terms, it just means the one that is against you, your enemy, your adversary, the one who seeks to put obstacles in your path, you know. And some people understand that in order to ascend to your higher godlike self, you need those obstacles to overcome in order to figure out who you really are and what you're capable of. So some people see it as evil. Some people see it as this and that. Some people take it literally, just like they take Christianity literally, and they go run with it, worshiping a goat like being. But the goat like being, what does a goat do? Climb mountains, climb trees. They ascend to the higher ground, baby. So if you take it literally, yes, it perhaps may be evil. If you take it in the occult aspect, it's not evil at all. Okay. So you really got to use your brain. Only stupid, ignorant people take symbolism literally. Okay. And people laugh at so called religious people and so called Christian people because if they understand the knowledge and the occult, they see a whole different story and they are actually feel sorry for certain people for believing literal things. It's just like if you watch Ancient Aliens, how they said, oh, this must be God. Let's, sit down and worship these uh, gods and angels. They probably just people coming from a spaceship. Okay. They built whole religions around an astronaut. Okay. So we don't want to be stuck in that mentality. We don't want to be stuck there. Okay. We don't want to make up stories about, unless they're metaphors and to be interpreted. We don't want to take them literally. If we take them literally, it means we don't have the capacity yet to understand it. And so we close ourselves off for growing to the capacity to understand it. And therefore, we will never understand it because we've closed ourselves off to the capacity to be able to understand it. Okay. Yes. So, what about when goats climb high into the mountainside and get shot by hunters? Climb too high, they get climb too high and they get you. Well, before there was hunters and before there was people killing, the goats were going to climb. Okay, it's nature. They can't worry about if they're going to get shot or whatever. They're going to climb to the top. That's their nature. When we're talking about nature, the nature of man. Okay. Um, so the circle of life, exactly. What if you're a new occultist working against other seasoned occultists? Will they cancel out your dark magic? Look, occultists have nothing to do with working magic against you. Okay, occultist is someone who understands how symbolism works. They practice alchemy. Alchemy is self actualization. They just ascend higher. Okay, anybody who's practicing magic against you as an occultist or a magician is simply vibrating on a higher vibration or a different set of, frequencies that make you less relevant. I don't know. But as an occultist, you're not worried about other people. You're worried about yourself and your own ascension, not worried about other people. Anybody that's trying to use this knowledge to um, do bad things to other people, like back and forth, they're not focusing on what they're supposed to be focusing on anyway. So I really wouldn't worry about it. If their situation isn't good, they don't know what they're doing. Okay, so I wouldn't take them seriously. If you wouldn't trade places with them, don't worry about them. Okay, that's my motto. If you wouldn't trade places with them, don't worry about them. Okay, that means they're not on that level. Um, exactly. Mhm. So don't trip on them. Exactly. You've watched videos You've watched videos of me collaborating with other like-minded people. Have you ever thought about collaborating or interviewing Brother Panic? Oh, I almost did. Wait. Was it? Yeah. I was actually supposed to be on his show, but my time is very valuable, you see. Very valuable. And I don't wait around for people. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, what is the group name for Facebook? Okay, you can't find it by name. You have to message me on Facebook and inquire that way about the group. It is a paid group. You got to pay to get in. It's a one-time fee. That's it. And you're in. There's PDF books in there. The Alchemy Idiot's Guide is in there. All some good books. Okay, so you'll save yourself a lot of money on reading in books. They're in PDF form. Um, and you can get to my Facebook page by going to my YouTube channel page and clicking on the About section, and my Facebook link is in there. Or you can just click the little Facebook icon on my channel page. Okay. So yeah, there is a fee to join one time. He he he. I've seen Vampire Diaries and the originals. Yes, very good shows. Love it. Okay. I'll take spiritual group only at this time, not letting anybody else into other groups. Just a spiritual group. If you want to be in the spiritual group, it does cost. If you're not ready to pay, do not send me a message because it's just going to back up the other people from getting, in the group. Okay. Would you consider yourself an occultist? I would say I'm an alchemist, which is an occultist. Um, because you got to know the occult to properly know alchemy. They go hand in hand. Okay. You got to know symbolism, which is hidden meaning, which is occult. You got to know how to decipher things and decode things. So that is the occult. As far as the magic side of the occult, it's just doing magic with symbols and occult knowledge. Okay. What do you think about the Rothschilds? How do they get powerful? Okay. I only believe they're powerful in one aspect. You know what I mean? Um, I feel like, yes, I don't think they're powerful in all aspects, just in some. There is a difference. Okay. There is the physical trying to create immortality, and then there's the spiritual trying to create immortality. Um, if you're unable to create it spiritually, then you focus solely on the physical. If you're able to focus on the mental and the physical, properties of immortality, automatically you will be able to figure out physically how to become immortality because you did the work. A lot of people are skipping the work. So, in order to have, long lasting life, because if you think about it, long ago, people were said to have lived thousands of years and, long, long time. So if you kind of think about it, if you're not doing the work with this process, you'll never figure out how to truly become immortal on the three aspects. Okay. So if unless they have someone working on this in the alchemical process, I don't feel like, because a lot of people say, oh, he's going to live a long time. He got all these heart transplants and stuff. That's physical. Okay. So perhaps not understanding how to become immortal spiritually is why people want to stay alive in their bodies a lot longer. So I don't believe that they have a lot of power outside of the physical realm. That's what I don't believe. And, you know, that's it. And when I say that, it's because if you think about where occult knowledge comes from, it comes from cultural traditions. Just really sit there and think about it for a second. It comes from cultural traditions. If you didn't have cultural traditions passed down from generation to generation, whether it be old wives' tales, some crap your mom told you to do that didn't make sense, but it worked. That's what I'm talking about. Some people didn't have that, and so spiritually there is a void because they don't have the spiritual aspect culturally ingrained into their existence, into their DNA. So you have to start that. That's why a lot of people are now becoming more spiritual. They're incorporating spirituality into the culture so that you can build up all those internal transformations of DNA throughout each generation. If you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Okay. So you have to build that through DNA. Can't build it through knowledge alone. It has to be built through DNA, through your through your ability to understand it and create from it, through your child's ability to understand it to create from it. That is the transformation process from where you learn spiritually, mentally, and then able to create physically. Okay. So if you understand what I'm saying, you already know. But you must incorporate it into your culture. Point blank. Okay. Everybody's a starseed race. No one is, I mean, everybody came from somewhere, you know. So some people are older than others spiritually. Velvet, where's Velvet? She's a food digger. She'll only come if you have food. See? Come on, Velvet, got some food. Come on, Velveeta. Come on, Velvet. Why are you being so rude to her? I'm trying to get her to jump up here. Come on, Velvet. I have a piece of cat food.
She's disrespectful.
Yeah, I'm live. They asked where Velvet was. Here you go, Velvet. One morsel. It's back there. Oh, see, Velveeta. It's your Velveeta.
Bow
I'm
me,
gonna give my
baby.
baby.
This little belly baby.
You wanna give her a kiss? Okay.
Wait, I was gonna feed her.
Oh.
Here.
Yes. All right. I'm live, so y'all kind of be quiet. Yes. Bye bye. Old souls. Okay. Whenever someone says you're an old soul, I feel like that is a conscious old soul, like a soul that knew to come back and to knew that they were eternal or immortal. You know, and that they've been here before. You know, people that just come here and all of a sudden suddenly take off and excel in things. It's like they're continuing from their last time. And then you meet someone that has no clue, have to ask everybody about everything, don't know anything, have zero common sense. Those are new souls or souls that didn't take their consciousness with them and had to start from scratch. Okay. So if you meet an old soul, if you see an old soul, if you feel like you're an old soul, then you're probably bringing your consciousness back with you. If you don't know anything, if you lost, if you have to ask everybody for everything and you have no clue on what to do and you're basically green, you are a soul that did not take their consciousness with them, or you are a new soul because you've been erased and wiped clean. Okay. So, they know what their mission is exactly. You know what your mission is. And you would be getting symbols and signs throughout your entire childhood up until you start doing what that mission is. Then it will all make sense later on once your mission starts. Y'all know what I'm talking about, some of y'all. Okay. What would be the reason to be wiped clean? No knowledge of how to become immortal. Okay. No seeking of knowledge to become immortal, to be able to take your consciousness with you. No seeking of that. That's how you would be wiped clean because you wouldn't understand what to do after you pass away. So what that's why you'd be wiped clean. You know how they say don't go to the light? Don't go to that light. Okay. You go to the light, you're wiped clean. Mm. Has any concept ever blown my mind to the point where you felt like you had to rebuild the entire foundation of your belief system? What was it? Yes, every time. Every time I learn something profound, I have to redo everything. That's why if you go back and watch some of my old videos, it's very different. You know, just like in science. If science, you know why we're not where we should be technologically? Because of scientists not wanting to start over all of their research. You know what I mean? They didn't want to throw away all that crap and start over when another scientist, Tesla, told them about the ethers and dark energy, dark matter and stuff. They didn't want to listen. Set us back way back. So it's very important not to fear that. Just start over. It's better to start over and have a better understanding of something or a deeper understanding of something than staying in something that's no longer fulfilling or true to you. Okay, that's why a lot of religious people um they can't switch over because they would have to throw all that away. And the reason why they embed religion and social um standing together and fear is so that when it is time for you to awaken and leave religion, you won't. because you have so many memories. Oh, I grew up in the church. My memories include church. You don't want to let that go. I used to pray to Jesus every night, and I felt like he was my best friend. A, B, C, and D. You can't let that go. You know, just like when on Castaway, Tom Hanks, he couldn't let the volleyball go. He could, or Wilson was a basketball, whatever. He couldn't let Wilson go. I don't know. I can't remember what type of ball it was. He became so attached to Wilson. Y'all remember the ball that he drew a face on with his bloody hand? He became so attached to Wilson. He took Wilson with him. Okay. Almost died trying to save Wilson. Wilson. Okay. He's trying to get off the island. Died trying to save Wilson. Okay. Sometimes you got to let stuff go and start over. Okay. So think of it like that. You can't hold on to something if it's no longer serving you. Just get rid of it and start anew. Just think of it as a rebirth. Okay. And it's more exciting because you'll be learning and everything will be brand new. And this time you'll be able to really understand it and feel things spiritually through self discovery instead of being shoved down your throat. And that makes no sense. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Very informative, lots of hidden meaning in it, lots of instruction for the afterlife in it. Or for, I quote those a lot, quoted on my last video about the Ankh and immortality. King Solomon, yeah, he was an alchemist. Um, I mean, they put him in the Bible for a reason. You got to go interpret that for yourself. He he was very much into magic, very much into the goddess worship, all that good stuff. Illuminati, light is false. That's what I think of Illuminati. Illuminati, opposite of alchemy. It's a yeah. When I say that, it means okay, there's no light matter. Okay, I got to explain it scientifically. Illuminati, the illumination, the light. And then alchemy means the opposite of that. Think about it. Interpret the word alchemy. The dark arts, the land of the dark arts, land of the black arts. Illuminati, this is the lights. So it's the opposite. It's not even original to them. That knowledge is not original to the Illuminati. They took it. Like I told you, they took it. They can't use it because they took it. That's the whole point. Okay. They can't use it properly because they took it. Okay. They can only scare people with it. They can't use it. Freemasonry is very different because there's a process you must go through. Okay. There are rituals you must go through. And even though you may go through the rituals in A, B, C, and D, it's still stolen. You stole it. You can't use it. Um, I mean, it's unable to be used by certain people because they're not doing it for the correct reason. How about that? Just like in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he says once you get to that gate and you say these words and you come in there with the bad intentions, they're not going to let you through. That means you're unable to properly ascend if you're in there for the wrong reason, because it's not going to add up, baby. It's just not going to add up. And it can't add up if you have not done the process. Some people, they have money, so they figure they could skip a few things. Or some people have uh, power, so they figure, oh, well, I need to rush this process of understanding. So let me cram this in my mind so I can know it. But knowing is not being. That's the difference. Okay? So you have to be. You can't just know. Knowing ain't enough. Eastern stars are like the female version of the Freemasons. Yeah. But that is. And here's another thing. Okay, if you are someone who has suffered, suffering is supposed to result in growth. If you're suffering but not growing, you are not being your higher self. Okay. So if you're in a tight position, if you're in a bad place, if you're not improving, if you're not growing, your suffering will continue. Okay. The person who suffers and rises out of that suffering has ascended in more than one way. Okay. Because you can't rise out of suffering if you really suffered incompletely. You understand? You cannot rise out of suffering incomplete if you truly suffered. So, that being said, it means you got all the lessons. You got the physical lesson, the spiritual lesson, and the mental lesson. And suffering is bad, but it leads to change if you're strong and you seek change. Okay? Suffering is bad if you don't seek change because you'll stay there and eventually you're going to die suffering. So, suffering is to create your motivation to change. You're not changing and you will continue to suffer and you make up excuses why you're suffering and why you continue to suffer, then that will be how you probably die. How you live is how you die. That's what they say. Okay. So make sure if you are suffering that you're also changing those things which make you suffer. Okay. Why is this under the comedy? The mirror, baby, the mirror. Okay. It's alchemy. Understand. Y'all understand why it's under comedy? A lot of people suffer through other people when it's not their battle. Exactly. And that's a choice. Um, if you're tired of suffering, you need to make changes. Okay. So that's the whole point. If you live in joy, you die in joy. Exactly. Mhm. Good for you. You depressed for 8 years and we came into a spiritual awakening. Wonderful. Congratulations. Okay. And that is sacrifice for growth, higher self. Thank you. Yep. Gotta sacrifice something. Everything in order to get high, you must sacrifice the low. In order to get to the next step, you gotta step on this step, baby. Now, through current events, through occult rituals, through sacrifices in occult rituals, whether they be mock sacrifices, some people took it too far, real sacrifices, like animal sacrifices, it is symbolic of the lower self. Okay. Um, that's another reason, yes, symbolic. That's another reason why a lot of people ask me, why do you have a picture, I mean, a statue of the Lady of Guadalupe? And I told y'all, I'll tell y'all when I was ready. And I think I'm ready. Because she represented the the change to stop people from taking sacrifice as literal. In the ancient times, you know, the Aztec, the Mayan culture would do human sacrifices in order to get certain things, rain, crops, A, B, C, and D. Okay. And it stems from a different era. And, to sacrifice, maybe they were interpreting it the incorrect way. And they meant sacrifice something within, sacrifice your lower self, sacrifice. They may have interpreted things wrong or did not get the metaphoric reasoning, but just the literal meaning. And the Lady of Guadalupe was one of the symbols to get that culture from no longer practicing human sacrifice. They were sacrificing to a goddess, and they feel like that goddess came to them as her. And the Catholic Church, of course, they ran with it, gave them a brown version of the Mother Mary. And so it kind of stopped the human sacrificing. And then that's when they give you Jesus. And they say he died for your sins. Like he died for you to become greater. Basically, it's you're killing off your lower self, the self that does not serve you, the self that is not going to take you to the next level, the bad habits, the things you don't want, the things that hold you back, your, your physical lower self that keeps you from being your godlike self, you know. When I say godlike self, I don't mean good and righteous and perfect. I mean knowing your capabilities, knowing what you are, you know. Doesn't have anything to do with how good you are. It's knowing who and exactly what you are. So they give you Jesus, but you start worshiping it instead of understanding that that's an aspect of you and a metaphor not to be taken literally. Okay. So once you stop worshiping and figure that out, you can move forward spiritually. A lot of Christians have trouble because they have been talking to Jesus for so long when they need to be talking to the mirror, you know, sacrifice that old self and become the new self. I think also that that video with Bruno Mars and Lil Wayne, the mirror on the wall or whatever, that's the same thing, talking about sacrificing the lower self for the higher self. Also, um, sacrifice. There was blood everywhere. And of course, those Illuminati or those people that can't really get to where they want to go do require some sacrifice because they're still trying to figure it out. It's no longer necessary. Okay, that's why a lot of people say, oh, if you're getting a music industry, you got to make a sacrifice because they're trying to figure out by doing physical sacrifices, spiritually, mentally, and physically, if they can start to get what they need, but hasn't happened yet. And the only thing that's going to stop these type of sacrifices is when people reclaim. I think that's why Jay-Z has started his own everything. He had to reclaim a power position to show people the other way. You know what I mean? Because there a lot of people are still trying to figure stuff out. They don't have it yet. They can't get it. They'll never get it. That's why I always talk about Jay-Z because he's doing it the correct way. He didn't skip no steps. He came from what selling crack to where a lot of people will never get, okay, to billionaire status. So his suffering, his alchemical vessel, he's experiencing what these people can't experience. Okay. Um, Therefore he got there. And he's only a certain age. And it took them years to get there. It took them, family generations of wealth to get there. But he did it in one half a lifetime from selling crack. Okay. So that's almost a slap in the face. You know what I mean? Almost a slap in the face. So how can he get it, but they can't? And what I'm saying is, how can he reach this status? How can he get in this position of influence without doing what they're asking him to do, without participating in their rituals and experiments in order to get some type of upgrade? Okay. So that's not happening with them. So they keep. Let's talk about the ancestors. Yes. Okay. I was actually going to do this original video about ancestors. Okay. So ancestors are very important. That's why a lot of people work with them. So let's talk about why ancestors are important. Ever since the beginning of written language and knowledge, let's say from Sumeria to Kemet to things like that, to necromancy practices in Africa, in the voodoo religion, and all of that. Necromancy, communicating with the dead, and ancestors are the key. Why? Because a lot of those ancient ancestors are conscious plasma. Ooh, yeah. A lot of your ancient ancestors are conscious plasma, are dark matter, conscious dark matter. And when they see you understanding what they are and asking them for help, and your DNA is hooked up with their DNA, their matter is hooked up with your matter. So when you talk to them, they come through. And you'll see this in a lot of cultural magic is working with ancestors and necromancy. That's why a lot of people do work in the cemetery because they're getting that energy, that plasma energy. That's why people get that cemetery dirt. They got some of that energy. Okay. That's why people uh, use certain type of dead. If you think about it, like they grind this powder up made out of this bone and do this and that. It sounds crazy, but it's really scientific. It's really alchemy. It's really getting the essence, of that particular DNA. Is the imbibing process uh, of connecting with conscious plasma. Sometimes you heat that little cauldron up, you put your little ingredients up in it. You are doing the process the Egyptians in ancient Kemet used to do when they extracted the gases in the canopic jar to be transformed into plasma to escape and go out into the universe as consciousness, conscious matter. Okay. So If y'all gotta watch my other video on the Unk to fully understand what I'm talking about, because it's pictures on there. It's me with a voiceover with some pictures. I'm not just sitting here. So you'll truly understand that. So when you work with your ancestors, your DNA, their DNA, their knowledge is your knowledge. You share it if you want it. Yes, reminds you of Michael Jackson's ghost. Exactly. You know, those people came in his house. He called his ancestors. I haven't seen that Ghosts by Michael Jackson. Hmm. So he said, meet the family. Um, y'all know I gotta put MJ and everything. And okay, let's talk about Michael, right? The name Michael. Oh my gosh. That he or that is like God, right? So an ascended being, a master, someone that's in and out, who can manifest themselves in human form, in spiritual form, shapeshifter. That's why he's always shapeshifting in his videos, you know. So yeah. Mhm. The cluttered desk is upsetting to your OCD. You must kill that lower part of you. Because an alchemist's laboratory and desk is always messy because the universe is chaos. And then you make order, you make sense out of it. So kill your OCD. You've never seen an alchemist with a neat desk. You've never seen an alchemist with a clean laboratory. It's always messy because you make sense out of chaos. Your brain is where you clean it up at. Fix this. That won't bother you. Okay. Can we get an update on your elixir drops? Um, Michael Jackson was not a part of the Illuminati. I mean, yeah, he had knowledge, but he wasn't a part of the Illuminati. So here we go. My elixir drops. There should be some up for sale right now on my Etsy shop, Dark Realm. Hmm. Right. Let me tell you guys something. You can't be in the Illuminati if your DNA is already of a culture that created and perfected alchemy. Okay, you just can't. That's like saying, oh my gosh, it's like going to Egypt and telling some man because he could decipher hieroglyphs and he got a pyramid that he's an Illuminati. That's the same thing. That's y'all doing the same thing. Excuse me, sir, are you in the Illuminati? And you in Egypt? You're not in the Illuminati. He even told you on some interview he did or some speech that the history books lie. Okay. So, so hi, go to Egypt and tell them people they're in Illuminati and they're gonna look at you crazy. Right? Anyone with Illuminati, anyone with power is Illuminati. You know what? That's not even true. But I mean, I know what you mean, but like, um, not the fake Illuminati. The original knowledge, they didn't need to call it the Illuminati. They called it what it was. Alchemy. Okay. Um mhm. All right. Yep, they sure were, but they still gonna claim their stuff, even if they were invaded. They're not gonna be okay. Oh, I have a pyramid in my house. I'm not Illuminati. Oh, I know some alchemy. I'm not Illuminati though. hmm So just think of it like that. Okay. So here's the thing: you're not an Illuminati if you are indigenous to the planet. You're not in the Illuminati. If you have cultural indigenous ties to cultural knowledge that is copied, you're not in the Illuminati. Okay. Thank you, Andrea Love and Life, for your nice donation. Mhm. All right. So there you go. You don't have to kill somebody to be successful. You don't have to sacrifice and do giant rituals to get spiritual knowledge and insight, right? That's what I'm saying. The whole point, like whenever y'all see those people doing all these rituals and stuff and mock sacrifices and running around in robes that don't look right, they're trying everything to get the I don't even know if there's a word for it. The effect that they're unable to get. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like an experiment, or yeah, it's kind of like a science experiment. And you have to try every variable to come out with the result that someone else got. Um, and you can't figure out how they got it. That's what the Illuminati is. And focusing on one aspect of it too much and not all three. That's why three is the sacred number. Okay. So, yes. Anyway. It doesn't matter if it's Arab or whatever. It's still, if you're Arab, if you're African, if you're black, you can't be in the Illuminati because that's your information, right? You don't run around telling Arabs and Egyptians that they're in the Illuminati because they got money, right? you know, that's why Beyonce started off her song. Y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess. Okay. Okay. So anyway, you can't be Illuminati if that's your stuff. You know what I mean? Um, Now anybody can learn. You can learn all you want. You can learn all day, all night. But you can't be Illuminati if that's not your stuff. You can claim, you can floss with your, the physical aspect of it because that's all you can do. You can floss with this aspect of it, but what I like is how certain people are flossing with all three aspects of it. Okay, y'all know who them certain people are. Who's flossing with all three aspects of it? Okay. Yeah. So rich people running the world are Illuminati. Yeah, but that's not important because, like, here's the thing. Yes, money is important, but running the world because you can't escape the world is another thing. So you can't escape it, you might as well run it. You can't get out of prison, you might as well run that mug. Did y'all see that video with Jay-Z and Susan Sarandon in the beginning when they was all trying to escape prison and she was the warden? You can't escape it, you might as well run it because we can come in and go out as we please and we're out and come in and out because we went through the process. Okay? That's how it is. So but those who are able to come in and out, come in, do the same thing and leave again, that's alchemist. Okay? Mhm. Okay. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. So if you want to see alchemy in action, a lot of things you're gonna see in certain people's videos are going to be lessons and triggers and symbols to spark your subconscious mind. Okay. Hmm. How old? Oh, y'all talking to Emily. Um, all of the royal families of the world have Rh negative blood naturally kept pure because the womb of Rh negative mother will reject the child. Yeah, that's true. Um, okay, let's talk about that. The Rh negative blood. Okay. Um, Rh negative blood. Okay, it's not pure. Let's see. How can I explain this? It's not. A lot of people say it's alien blood, or whatever. And a lot of people say it's this, but there are a lot of people that have this blood type. They are a lot of Cherokee or Native Americans have this. A lot of French, Spanish, Basque people have this bloodline. Okay, that's where it originated. And between, it's on the coast of the Atlantic. Okay, keep this in your mind. Atlantic, Atlantis, Thoth, the Atlantean. Okay, that knowledge on the on the phone. No, no, in Spain. You remember the time you and me in Spain. 2, 3. What about us? Spain. These are coastal countries near the water. Okay, Atlantis. Okay, other beings, advanced beings. Now, Spain, Portugal, Basque, and France are close to Africa, close to Egypt, close to the Mediterranean. And that bloodline spread into Europe. Okay. And then because the slave trade from Spain, France, Africa, west coast of Africa went to the islands of the Caribbean, the natives that were there got the French and the Spanish Rh negative bloodline. So that's why you have this region of the world that has it, this region of the world that has it, and it's lightly spread, it's spread throughout Europe, but it stops at a certain point and the percentages get lower and lower from the start point. Okay. So the Atlantic Ocean, Atlantis, you know, higher beings. That's where that bloodline comes from. Yes. Hmm. Perhaps Atlantis. It could be their own language. You're correct. Amy, have you seen that movie Get Out? Get Out. Go. You should watch it. Right. So, not trying to get on religion or blood type or anything. We're just trying to figure out these symbols and how, if we just do the work, we can also have this same, you know, everybody can have the same advantage. And it's, you got to do the work, though. Hi, Kitty. Hmm. There are two ways to slide easily through life: you to believe everything or doubt everything. Both ways save us from thinking. That's true. And that's the maze. The maze is thought. You must think your way out. Um and and in that maze you're alone. In that maze you have your own thoughts, your own intuition, your own path of choice. You get out of the maze, you get out. The You're free. The maze, the matrix, whatever you want to call it. But you must do the work, and you must use your brain, and you must realize who you are and what you are, and rise above the maze to see your way out. Okay? You can't see your way out of a maze unless you have a different viewpoint. And you don't know it's a maze when you first see it because you're seeing it from a different perspective. All you see is a path. Then when you get lost, you figure, oh my God, it must be a maze. And then you start seeing it from a different perspective, from a higher perspective. You see your way out because you can see the bird's eye view of the maze. And you see your way out. So keep that in mind. You can't, and see, here's the problem with the Illuminati. They own the maze. They keep the maze looking up to par. They, they charge money to live in, to get through the maze, to even enter the maze. They charge, they got door fees on the maze, but they can't leave the maze because they haven't figured out, they haven't gone through the maze. They haven't they haven't tried hard enough to get out of the maze. Hi, Kitty. They didn't learn the lessons of the maze. They didn't know the purpose of the maze. They only saw, ooh, this is hard and intriguing. It makes people wander around for hours. And, you know, uh, maybe we could do A, B, C, and D. Maybe we can charge people to get in this maze. Maybe we can charge people to go through the maze. Or maybe we can make this more entertaining for ourselves. Since we can't escape, we might as well do something. Y'all seen Maze Runner? Maze Runner. Maze Runner is the exact thing I'm talking about. You can't get out the maze, so you might as well entertain yourself and see who got it and who don't. Try to figure out what they were doing. How did you make it? A, B, C, and D. You know, some people can escape, some people can't. Some people got it, some people don't. Okay. Why? Because of how they think and what they've done and what they've been through. Right? Okay. What's up, Emily? Yes, always avoid the light when you die. Mhm. My kids are 9 and 10. No, 9 and 11. 9, 11. Um, okay. Okay. They're always say to go to the light. Why is that? So you they say go to the light, then you don't go to the light. Okay. If they say go to the light, that means don't go to the light. I said that the light is going to erase you. Let's think about this scientifically. Okay. Let's break it down scientifically. Get in here. She wants me to keep it open. Okay, so hi kitty. If your energy is if your soul is energy, if you're plasma matter energy, um, so if you're plasma matter energy and you are conscious dark matter, okay. Um, Let me ask you a question. Can you see lightning in the daytime? Can you see it very well? This cat is going crazy. Is there something that she's trying to catch?
Just the door.
She's trying to get my attention. Cat go crazy when I ignore her. So it's almost like if you go to the light.
Take care
Hi,
of her.
kitty.
Show off your
She's a
cat.
baby.
She doesn't love you.
She loves me. I think she just wants you to play with her.
I don't want to play with her.
Right. Um. How can I explain this? If you're dark matter, and you're conscious dark matter and dark energy is able to create. Okay, let's think about this. You are unable to create as light. Okay, you are only able to exist in the illusion. Okay, right. You don't have lightning on the sun. Right, right. Okay, so imagine this. Imagine if you died, you went to the light, your memory was wiped clean, your energy came back, you were reborn, you don't know anything, you start over from scratch. You have no idea that you don't come back knowledgeable. You just come back brand new. Then over here you have this old soul who's here, who's talking this and that, who, is teaching other people and A, B, C, and D. They took theirs with them. They were conscious dark matter when they decided to reincarnate. They decided when, where, how, A, B, C, and D. Okay. You didn't decide any of that. You didn't take anything with you. Your stuff was erased, cleared, alt, central alt deleted. So, right. So that's the difference. Don't go into the light. You become dark plasma energy, which is dark matter with consciousness. So stay in the darkness and create. Go, you could travel the entire universe, okay, as this type of energy. You control the light. You create the light. You aren't the light at all. Okay. And the only reason you really reincarnate is to free other people. Okay. And to be an example of what freedom looks like. Think about it. All the wise people, all the people that you see that are very spiritual, wise, and wealthy, or living a good life, they're not keeping things from you. They're teachers, or they're sharing their secrets, or they're helping you get to the next level. They don't come back and become an ice skater, okay? They don't come back and become uh, a stripper and pose on posters bent over backwards, okay? They don't come back for that. They come back as teachers to help you get out of the maze, aka the matrix, okay? In all dimensions, spiritual, physically, and mentally. Strippers are amazing teachers. Yeah, if that's how they got to get your attention and they got that knowledge, then so be it. A stripper can be a teacher. Yes. But that's not their sole purpose, is what I'm saying. They have other purposes. That's just to get you drawn in. Okay. Um now I wouldn't call it okay. So that's what that is. So don't go to the light. And just because they got money and they're spiritual and they have a pyramid and such doesn't mean they're an Illuminati, especially if they know what they're doing. And they're of that culture in which created that knowledge. Thank you. My family's great. How do you not go to the light? Well, if you're conscious, if you got to read, you got to seek emerald tablets. Go back to the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, aka it's also called something else. I forgot the name of it, but it's also interpreted as another name. Go interpret that. Go read that. You got to go back to the source if you want to escape. You know what I mean? If you don't want to end up in the light, and that's your journey. I go back and watch the last three of my videos. The one about the Ankh, the one about the pyramid and the cross. Go watch those two. Read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Learn symbolism. Learn alchemy, spiritual alchemy, and don't take things literal. Look always for the metaphor and the symbols, and that's going to give you the keys you need to understand what you got to do. Okay, so that's it. Um, thank you for watching. I'm gonna go now, but thank y'all so much for watching. And yeah, evil is little when good is big, and vice versa. Do I believe in parallel universe? Of course. Okay. Do you think Jay-Z is Illuminati? I just went over that. No, I don't. Okay. Do you think that dude that lives in Egypt with the pyramid on his bookshelf is Illuminati?
I want
Because he
to
knows
spell
alchemy.
coloring book.
Oh, you can go get
Okay.
it. Bye.
Bye, mommy.
Bye bye. Love you. If you can name me somebody in the Illuminati that's rich, successful, highly influential, and people would trade places with them in a second for more than one reason. We can, we'll see who's really Illuminati and who's not. Okay. I said very influential. It's most of the time going to be who? A celebrity. The ones that shine iconically, right? The ones that people are drawn to worship. Not really worship, but to are drawn to. So, but there most people aren't drawn to the royals to as as much as they're drawn to celebrities. We said the Kardashians. So when you're drawn to certain beings and they can fulfill you in three ways, that's not the Illuminati. Think about it, okay? Because they're not trying to help you whatsoever. The Illuminati doesn't try to help you. So, just so y'all know. All right, y'all. I'll see you later. Bye.